So my main idea with this piece was I wanted to show a serial killer um, directly after murdering somebody. So it's like finding that balance of everything is right again in his world. He's like calm and satisfied, but also like a sort of feeling of maybe psychosis and definitely make him look mentally unstable. And I never usually do those guidelines that I did just a few seconds ago, but I tried it on this piece and I didn't really end up using it that much. I just like to do just work with blocks of color and yeah, just eyeball it. That's how I usually like to do it. I think I went with too dark a tone for this shadow part, like beneath the cheekbones, but it ended up alright in the final product, in my opinion. I still struggle with noses, I feel. I need to practice noses. Really happy with how the hairstyle came out. I was going for like a Ted Bundy kind of look, where I wanted him to look very pretty and again like just a controlled appearance. Like somebody who's hiding the madness, you know? I was also thinking of the kid from Bates Motel. So yeah, when I'm doing eyes, I do the eye sockets, then I put the eyeballs in, and then I do the eyelids over top the eyeball. That's what's been working for me, and I think my eyes have really improved since I started using that method. Yeah, I started out with just white eyeballs, but I felt like that looked a little unnatural, so I added a bit of blue tone. It's two very different shades of blue I used. I didn't notice that until now. My mistake. Yeah, just adding some highlights to the eyelids a second ago and now the nose to add some depth. Um, Really helpful way of thinking of painting or art is to think of like sculpting with light. Like you're just thinking about how the light would interact with whatever you're drawing. Um, for the hair here, all I'm doing is just adding some highlights in the direction that I think the hair should be flowing, and then I blend it again in the same direction. I like how it turned out personally. I think one important thing for the eyes is to blend the pupil and the iris because um, I think it looks a lot better when there's depth to the pupil. Like I think it's a hole in the eye. It's not just like a black. It's not a black dot. It's a hole. You know. This is actually the first time I've ever drawn eyebrows, and I was honestly a bit nervous about fucking up the entire drawing with the eyebrows, but I think they came out all right. I basically did the same technique for the eyebrows as I did for the actual hair. Those lips started out looking really funny, but I think I did a good job. The mouth is obviously very small, which part of it is definitely I messed up. But I also like how it looks with the idea of the piece. He's like very pursed lips, you know, he's trying to keep it all together in a way. And that's why I went with this turtleneck, because a turtleneck, definitely Ted Bundy vibes, but also like it's a very controlled looking piece of clothing, but it's also very constraining, which is what I imagine this gentleman would feel, you know, trying to hide the fact that he's a serial killer with the lust for blood. So what I'm doing here is I'm just sampling colors from him, and I'm putting them kind of around him, and then I use a blur tool to make it a spiral. I think it adds to the feeling of mental instability. He's like spiraling. It also kind of looks like the Looney Tunes ending thing. I really like using a giant version of that brush to do a blood splatter. I've used it a few times. I think it ends up with a pretty cool effect. I spend a lot of time on this piece, just playing around with effects and like filters and changing the hue and everything, which I really like doing. It you can discover new effects that you would have never thought to try, like if you were doing everything intentionally. So I just like to try a bunch of different stuff, and I'll find something that works. I realized I forgot to do the nostrils, really. Yeah, I wanted to do some more, because I didn't like just the spiral. It looked a bit plain, so I did it's like a radial box blur, I think is what it's called. It just makes it look like things are flying out at you. Tried adding a light source behind him, but I don't think I ended up going with that. I tried making it work. I tried to add like the halo lighting around him, but it just wasn't working. Yeah, just trying a bunch of different stuff. I like the idea of that, but I didn't like how I made it look, so I abandoned it, and then I went with that blood drip, which I didn't really keep. Like, it's still there, but you could barely see it. You have to know that it's there you have to be looking for it to be able to see it, I feel like.